just have fun with your phone. Like you're using it, you're on it for a reason, have fun with it. And when you realize you're not, for whatever reason, just think for a second, like, hey, just notice that. Like, this isn't feeling so great right now.
Welcome to the Healthy Screen Habits Podcast. I'm Hillary Wilkinson. Whether you're starting your parenting journey with a newborn or looking to connect with your teen on technology, let's learn some new healthy screen habits together. My guest today is a longtime digital pioneer exploring how technology shapes our lives. After building early social media strategies for places like Museum of Modern Art, Coca-Cola, and Ford, he's turned his efforts to building Offline.now, a global platform and community for digital balance while coaching and advising leaders, including neurodivergent professionals. He has also authored a book by the same name, Offline.now. Welcome to Healthy Screen Habits, Eli Singer.
Thanks so much for having me, Hillary.
Thank you for being here. Eli, you, like I said, have been in this digital space for a really long time. What has changed? Why are you encouraging to get people offline now?
I think that's a really great question. Maybe it's not so much what's changed, but how we want to change ourselves. The internet's always doing its internet thing. It's trying to show us cool stuff and give us new ways to connect and, collect some information and make a buck in the way or in the process. And I think people have realized that maybe they're just spending a little too much time connected. And so we're not about, like at Offline.now, we're not about breaking up with your tech or, forgetting about your tech because we know that's not possible. It's more just about finding digital balance. And what digital balance means can be something different for everybody. Depends on your family situation, your job, where you live, how you connect with the people in your lives. And so, whatever a healthy digital balance means for you, we want to help you get there.
I love it. So, and it's funny because you and I have never met, but
Mhm.
until we started chatting, and uh, chatting with you now, I can hear your voice in your book now. Because one of the things that came right out to me while reading your book was this method that is sort of this compassionate approach. And you talk about remembering that needing a digital reset doesn't mean that you're failing at life. It means you're
Right,
human.
right.
So I I just have to know, are you this kind with yourself?
I try to be, but as a startup founder, I'm always pushing myself further, and focused on self improvement. My wife's a therapist. Both of us, prior to these new careers, were in communications. My children, excellent verbal skills. There's a lot of talking going on in this house. There's a lot of emotional discussion, but I'm really thrilled to hear that you locked in on that tone. And there was so much time spent on crafting the right tone of voice for this book because it was important to meet people where they're at. So
Mm.
many people that want to change their relationships with their tech have tried before. They've tried rules and timers and lockouts. And every time you have to unlock that or increase the timer or you fail one of your rules, there's just a little bit more of a sense of guilt and shame. And I can't do this. Or anytime you read in a newspaper, if your kid uses Instagram for more than 2 hours a day, they're going to turn into mush. So, you just feel terrible. So let's just stop that. Let's just meet people where they're at and build their confidence and just help them achieve the goals that they want to achieve because they can do it.
Do you have any tips for parents opening this conversation to kids with this same level of compassion? I like the framework of keeping the emphasis on tech as a tool and something that's here to help, but I think it quickly overrides us. So, how can parents sort of open this?
It's really hard as a parent. for a lot of reasons. I mean, I know in my house there was a time where we were the police officers, which can harm the relationship a lot
Mm-hmm.
because it becomes
Mm-hmm.
more about policing than, parenting. Also, if you want to improve your relationship with technology, you have to have a desire to do that. And I
Mm.
think for a lot of people, adults, people in their mid 20s after they leave university, starting out in their careers, they have a sense of that change that they want to make in their lives. Younger children don't, right? The tools
Mm-hmm.
are like addictive. They're fun to be on. It's where their friends are. Who doesn't want to watch cartoons all day or play games all day? So, if without that motivation, it's a challenge. But I'm going to bring it back to the parent side of things that the number one thing you can do as a parent is have good modeling. And so this is not about blaming parents, but before one sets expectations around how their kids are going to behave with technology, the parent should be doing their best to set the example because the kids are watching them all the time. It's
Yeah.
pretty hard to tell your kid like stop using your phone, let's hang out when they're looking to hang out with you and you're just sticking on your phone,
Yeah.
doom scrolling or working. I mean, it's, what have you.
Right.
So that's the starting place.
Yeah, yeah. And I think in modeling that, like you said, I think it's also important to kind of almost subtitle what you're doing on your phone
Hmm.
with your, when you do have to pull it out, just saying, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for this interruption. I have to do XYZ. And that way it puts it in a different frame. It doesn't look like, oh, all she wants to do is scroll on Instagram or all she wants to,
Yep.
just keep with friends.
And I look to your like the five things that you have on your website, right? So like if you're a parent, maybe you should have a bedtime for your phone. Maybe you should be, like you just said, have the purpose while you're on your device. Maybe you shouldn't have your phone in your bedroom. Maybe you should put your phone on silent when you're sitting down for meals or like having family hangout time or at other cousins' houses like that. So, living these and this also prevents you from being caught in a double standard with like a really smart teen who's going to be like, why are you making me do this when you're not doing it? How come I have to keep my phone out of my bedroom and you got it in your bedroom? Like these are battlegrounds.
Right, right. Very true. And so I think for parents to start, thank you for referencing the five healthy screen
You
habits,
got
by
it.
the way.
I'm on
But
it.
I will also refer people to your place where I think is a really good place to start with a self inventory.
Mm.
And it's going to be a little bit tricky in an auditory format, but I believe in you, Eli. I know you can do this.
Okay.
Can you explain the offline now matrix in a way
Right.
that kind of translates? Sorry.
We wanted to create the most simple way that a person could like figure out where they are on their personal phone habit journey. And the insight was when it comes to behavior change, you have to start in the right place. Because if you don't start in the right place, the likelihood that you're going to fail is high.
Mhm.
For example, like you want to go to the gym, but you haven't been going or you haven't ever gone before, going every day for 4 hours and lifting as much as you can for a week is not sustainable. You'll probably hurt yourself. You might never want to go back after that. Right. And so what we wanted to do is figure out a way to get people to identify where they are in their journey so that they could find their starting place. So there are four types: ready, overwhelmed, unconcerned, and stuck. And the way you find out is we ask you two questions, and you can do this on the book and you can do this on our website. You can take the quiz. It's a motivation question. How motivated are you to change your relationship with your phone? Or motivated to go to bed earlier or stop gaming or stop online shopping or checking LinkedIn FOMO? How motivated are you? And then how self confident are you in your ability to do that? And so it's the combination of your scores of motivation and self-confidence that give you your type. Now, the number one type we're seeing, 51% of people that come to the site, is high motivation and low self-confidence.
Oh,
And that
that's
is overwhelmed.
hmm
30% of people are high motivation and high self-confidence. They're ready. So if you're overwhelmed, you have low self-confidence. You don't want to start with something that's really challenging because you probably won't be able to execute on it. You don't have the self-belief. You want to start with something that's really easy so that you can build your confidence. Your goal at the beginning is not to, at the end of day 4, achieve your dreams, whatever they are. Your goal is to, by the end of day 4, to say, hey, you know what? Like, I can make a change. Like, I'm capable. Maybe I'm going to like start amping it up.
my background's in education and particularly in motivation, right?
Hmm.
Academic intrinsic
Right.
motivation. And it's a very quick step from overwhelm to apathy,
Hmm.
right?
That's right.
Where it's this very quick step, and it's challenging when you're trying to learn something because you want to learn, struggle, want to learn, but then at that when you hit that point of overwhelm, then it just becomes apathy.
Yeah.
And so I can
Which is the
see,
stuck quadrant, right? Which is the
right?
bottom, it's low motivation, low self-confidence. I've tried so many times. I haven't been able to do anything. I'll never be able to do anything. What's the point of trying? So when you're the stuck type, the goal is to both grow motivation and grow self-confidence. And so the book also talks about tactics for that. So on the motivation side, you might be thinking, when was when was a time that I wasn't so used on my phone, and what did that feel like? And do I want to get back there? Or what was something I really enjoyed doing that I don't do anymore, but I'd love to get back to that? Maybe playing guitar or drawing or doing stuff with friends. It could be, what is something I'd really love to start doing? Maybe that's an aspirational goal. I can start turning that into motivation. And then you start building your self-confidence very slowly through like little tiny things, right? Like, I'll keep the drawing pens and coloring book, that because I want to be an illustrator by the couch, and I'll just turn off my phone for 1 minute and do a doodle, and then pick
Mm-hmm.
my phone back up.
Right.
Next day
Very
I'll do it again. Maybe after a week, I'm actually up to 5 minutes and I'm enjoying it, and it's more fun than being on the phone. So and you can go from stuck to ready, right? It's not linear. You can
uh-huh.
be like, I was stuck, but then wow, I started drawing again. And it's amazing. Like, I believe I can do this, and you're off like a rocket.
Great. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, I'm going to ask Eli a little bit more about how to use that offline now matrix to achieve some more of those self-desired results. From brand new parents to parents of teens who already have their own smartphones, Healthy Screen Habits presentations can help you navigate parenting in this digital age. We cover topics like creating your own family tech plan with a template that helps you guide your conversations and how to improve our kids' mental health through healthy screen habits. If you have a book club, bunco group, or even a group of neighborhood moms that you'd like to gather together for creating a plan on how your kids are going to play together, grow together, and what apps to look out for, let's have a mom's night. In person or virtual presentations are available. Reach out to us at healthyscreenhabits.org. Click the Book a Speaker button and let's get the fun started. I'm speaking with Eli Singer, the creator of Offline.now, a global community for healthier screen use. Now, their website, Offline.now, hosts a directory of experts, a chatbot coach, and a growing library of evidence backed resources. So let's talk next about tracking usage. It's that
Hmm.
whole you can't manage what you don't measure thing. And what are some tried and true techniques to decode where we're spending our time? that you recommend people can try to find?
This is so interesting. I wasn't expecting that question. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about measurement and tracking, being honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I disagree with what you just said, just there are a lot of tools and apps out there for it. I find that the measurement piece leads you down the path of rules. I've
Mm-hmm.
used my phone for this many minutes and I got to reduce it to that many minutes. And what I don't like about that, or what where I take a different point of view on that is that once there's a rule, if you break it, then you kind of feel a lot of shame and guilt,
Mm-hmm.
um, or like I just didn't make it. So I think more about personal goals, and
Mm-hmm.
and so the way we look at it is this. So, like I said, people take their surveys online, and we know which quadrant, and we know time of day and day of week. We have lots of interesting data. So what we're seeing is Sunday is the highest ready day. People feel most ready during the week, 5 to 8 p.m., and a little bit in the morning at around 11 a.m. In terms of overwhelmed, people feel most overwhelmed in the afternoons during the week, late in the evening, and then all day Friday. So for me, it kind of sets up windows, right? So if you're planning, so you sit down yourself, your partner, your family on Sunday and say, hey, what are the experiments we want to run this week,
Mm-hmm.
right? And let's pick the times of day that are going to make the most sense for when we're going to be kind of working with our strengths, right? You don't want to set yourself a goal of something that's a challenge in the afternoon if that's when you're always feeling most overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps try in the morning or after dinner, but before bed when you're feeling really strong. And, pick some sort of an intervention that you think you can learn from. And if you're successful at it, great. And if you're not, why weren't you? And how might you adjust things next time? So I kind of like, we kind of work within this framework of different times of day. If you're ready, if you're more advanced and you're in the ready type, then we might say, what are things that you're doing already? Why don't you push those 10 or 20%, right? And maybe
Mm-hmm.
push them into different times of day that might be a little more of a challenge to see if you can like boost confidence there. But we'll tell people like, give yourself Friday off. If you like you're having challenges, you've tried these experiments during the week, make Friday like a permission to like be overwhelmed.
Uh-huh.
And Saturday's a recovery day. And Sunday you plan for the next week.
It's a much more fluid and gentle approach, and it
Yep,
it resonates with me for sure. I think, within different personality types, some people do very well with structure and hard edges
for
and
sure.
yeah, but I can tell you this resonates deeply with me. Like, and just acknowledging that every day is not the same also.
Yeah, and I believe there's multiple paths to success. I mean, we're a parent. We talked about it's all parents. Like, I remember there's so many different pieces of advice about how you put your kid to sleep. You got to pet them. You got to leave the room. You got to let them cry. But not every style works with every parent. I can't listen
Hmm.
to my kid cry. Right? You got to find the one that works for you. So
Right.
this is just another of the many books and approaches out there.
You had a term in your book that was new to me, and that's always kind of fun to play with
I hope I
language.
remember this now.
Oh, okay. I can remind you if you don't.
That's what the
It's
edit's for.
it's right, right. It's app overlaps. And you say be careful of app overlaps. And to me, it translated to like what also was referred to as dual screening.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you're dual screening, you go from one app to another, you're multitasking, you go in to do one thing and then you end up in three or four other apps, you're doing many things all at the same time, you leak across them all. I experienced that pretty heavily in my own life.
Uh-huh.
I love music. I have ADHD. Music turns my brain on, gets me going, and I like to listen to music like the first 20, 30 minutes of the morning before I do anything, just to get my day started right. But when my music comes from an app that's on my phone, the likelihood that I'm going to check an email is high. So I bought a dedicated music player, a really good one, connected to great headphones. So I can come down in the morning and boot something up that has everything I like to listen to on it. And I don't have to go anywhere near my phone until I'm ready.
I think that just speaks to the intentionality that you're trying to approach this life with digital devices and enjoying what they have to offer, but not allowing them to override your decision making.
Yeah, and find out what works for you in your own life. Like there's so much out there, right?
I think
You
the
know,
challenge comes in making those changes sustainable, right?
yeah. Yeah. This is where the other part of offline now really kicks in.
Okay.
Um, the Matrix is really good at bringing in everyday people that, want to figure out where they're at and start their journey. But I think it's in some ways it's just not fair to expect people to do this on their own. People have such intimate relationships with their devices. They're
Hmm.
sleeping with them. They're using them on the toilet. They're like using them in the commute for hours a day for years and years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, like, don't worry, we're going to make like smart choices. And all of a sudden, we're going to change all of our behaviors. Like, good luck. And then it's very specific into people's lives,
Hmm.
right? Like parents, teens, kids, different ages, different life stages. It could be about work. It could be about body image issues. It could be about gaming. It could be about online pornography or dating or LinkedIn, what have you. So the website, what we're looking to do is build the largest directory of coaches, therapists, social workers. We got dietitians, kinesiologists. People are joining the site. They're choosing from over 100 different areas of expertise, very niche, very specific. So someone can come to the site and say, like, I'd like to talk to somebody about relationship stress, parenting, about, online body image. And, it could be a clinical conversation around depression, anxiety, OCD, and screens, what have you. It could be a more coaching oriented conversation around executive function and routines and ADHD. But you can find somebody that is really skilled and
Hmm.
qualified and certified, and you can reach out and book a meeting with that person.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, it's one of these things where it's like really simple at the beginning, but then it becomes incredibly complex. And to think
Sure.
that any book or any one individual could help every person, like people want to find really personal, custom help that they can identify with.
Right, right. And it's, yeah, I mean, every family is different, every person
Mhm.
is different with their needs. And yeah, I think having that individualized approach is key. So again, we have to take a short break, but when we come back, I'm going to ask Eli Singer for his healthy screen habit.
At what age should I give my child a smartphone? How much screen time should I allow each day? What are the best filters to use on my family's devices? Sound familiar? These questions and more are answered at the Healthy Screen Habits website. We've curated the best articles, books, videos, and many other resources to help you figure out how you want to use technology in your life. Click on the awareness section to learn about the issues and dangers surrounding screen use. Then click on the tools page to download printables you can use with your family today, including the Healthy Screen Habits Family Technology Plan. Visit our website at www.healthyscreenhabits.org for the resources and tools you need to get started.
I'm speaking with Eli Singer. And as you know, on every episode of the Healthy Screen Habits podcast, I ask for a healthy screen habit. This is going to be a tip or takeaway that listeners can put into practice in their own home. Before you share yours, I do want to reference in the back of your book on page 61, there are 100 ideas to try instead
Mhm.
of scrolling. And the first one, I love it because I feel like any single one of these could be your healthy screen habit. I mean, as simple as sit by a window and do nothing for 5 minutes, or prep a meal from scratch with no devices nearby. That would be very difficult for me. I listen to comedy every night when I cook. So
Well,
I'm
I'll take you up on that because number
okay.
two is my favorite on the whole list. And that can be my healthy screen habit, which is like hum or sing through your favorite album from memory, start to finish.
Is there any other healthy lifestyle, screen habit, etc., that
Right.
you'd like to add?
Like we were saying earlier, I just have fun with your phone. Like you're using it, you're on it for a reason, have fun with it. And when you realize you're not, for whatever reason, just think for a second, like, hey, just notice that. Like, this isn't feeling so great right now. I'm not going to stop because I'm like in a loop right now, but just remember that. Think about why, and maybe next time you'll like maybe not pick up the phone when that happens as much and you'll feel good about doing something different.
Excellent. As always, you can find a complete transcript of this show by visiting the show notes for this episode, as well as a link to the Offline.now website and a link for how to purchase the book Offline Now. You do this by going to healthyscreenhabits.org, click the podcast button, and find this episode. Eli, thank you so much for your time. This is just a delightful conversation.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like it applies to all levels of life, not just parents to children or anything else. It's all of us who are living in this digital age.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I look forward to continuing the conversation and thanks for the time.
For more information, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Healthy Screen Habits. Make sure to visit our website, healthyscreenhabits.org, where you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or via RSS, so you'll never miss an episode. It's free, it's fun, and you get a healthy new screen habit each week. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate you giving us a quick rating. It really does help other people find us and spread the word of healthy screen habits. Or if you'd simply like to tell a friend, we'd love that too. I so appreciate you spending your time with me this week, and I look forward to learning more healthy habits together.